This is the speaking test of the IELTS exam. Good afternoon, my name is Ahmed Bilal and I'll be your speaking examiner for today. What's your name?
Mr. Youssef Assad.
Youssef, can I see your identification, please?
Yes. Here you go.
Thank you very much. Okay, so in this first part, I'd like to ask you some questions about yourself.
Okay.
So let's start with what you do. Do you work or do you study?
I'm a self-employed. I work as a freelancer. My job is software development.
Where do you work?
I work at home currently because of the current situation of the coronavirus. So I've been working from home for almost a year now.
Why did you choose this job?
Well, I find it very interesting that the idea that you can build something with yourself and many people can use it and find it useful. And that was the main purpose why I decided to have this path in software development.
So is it a popular job in your country?
Yes, I think so. I have many friends who work in the software development field, and it's very common right now, especially after the recent changes in Egypt in the last decades.
So do you like your job?
Indeed, I like it very much.
So what was your first day like?
Okay, so I remember the first day I was in the last semester, and I found a job, part-time job. And after a very intense interview, they accepted me to work there part-time. And everyone was so pleased that I was just 22 years old. And this kind of feel like I was doing mobile app development. It was kind of new. And everyone was surprised like how I'm in last semester doing intense studying and at the same time working. So everyone was pleased with my skills and my future goals.
So what responsibilities do you have at work?
Well, that's a very good question. The first thing I can think of that I have to make sure that the task that was assigned to me has to be executed perfectly. So everything is clear. For instance, if there's a client and he demands a certain application for, let's say, for chatting, then I have to make sure that everything is done according to his demands. And I have to also to make sure that the product is delivered without any mistakes or bugs. So it has to work in many different devices correctly.
So if you had the chance, would you change your job?
I don't think so. I think I will stay working in this field maybe for a decade or two.
Okay. So now let's talk about art.
Okay.
Are you good at art?
Well, let me recall. Back when I was in school, I used to like drawing a lot, and I think I did a very good job at drawing.
Okay. So did you learn art at school when you were a child?
Well, at the beginning, I felt like I liked drawing, but I had no idea what to do. Then I told my teacher that I might be interested to learn or take more classes in art, and he accepted that. And after a couple of times, I was able to make a very good drawing.
Okay, so what kind of art do you like?
Well, if we're gonna talk about art in general, then I like music, I like dancing, I like painting, and also I like movies. If it's gonna be like in form of creative acting, theater, I like it very much.
So is art popular in your country?
Yes, I can tell you that it's very popular here in Egypt because the Egyptian culture is associated with art in many fields, and most of singers here in Egypt are well known in the Middle East area.
So do you think children can benefit from visiting art galleries?
Let me think about it. Yes, for many reasons I can think of, can be extremely beneficial for them. The first, that it can give them a room for creativity to think about different things. And art in general is the idea of manifesting complex ideas into something visual. So can enable them to think differently about the world and to cultivate their creativity and imagination.
So now I'm going to give you a topic and I'd like to talk about it for 1 to 2 minutes. Before you talk, you'll have 1 minute to think about it and you can make notes if you'd like. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay, you can start now.
Okay, so I'm gonna talk about an advice that I received back in college. So I remember that in the third year I had to choose between two different majors. The first was electronics and communication, and the second was software engineering. And I was in a dilemma because I didn't know which exactly the best option at that time. So I tried to ask over the internet on multiple platforms what is the best choice for me. And it was very difficult because most of the Westerners that I had who responded to my question, they had no idea what is the exact situation in Egypt. So I went to one of my professors and I told him about my goals and my ambitions. And he told me that the engineering field in Egypt might not be the right path for you because you like the idea of creating something. And he said that he thinks that the future for me as a software developer might be much better, and I can find lucrative jobs in the future. So I took his advice, and it was a life changing decision because immediately after I graduated, I was able to find an opportunity in China, and after that, I got so many business opportunities in the field of software development. So I'm extremely grateful for such an advice because right now I have so many colleagues who decided to do the other major, and some to some extent they have some regrets about their decision. So yeah, I'm very pleased again for such advice, I hope that in the future I will be able to do a further studying in that field.
Okay, thank you very much. Can I have the paper back? Okay, so we've been talking about a piece of advice regarding your career, and I'd like to ask you some questions related to this.
Okay.
Okay, so why do so many young people choose communication and media as their major?
Well, I think that is related to the existence of social media and the internet. Nowadays, this is a very common form of communication. And I believe that because this is how we communicate with each other every day, young people to some extent, they now have a clear idea of how can be done. So might be interesting for them to choose this kind of major in the future.
Why do young people find it difficult for them to make career choices?
Well, that's a very challenging question. Let me think about it. Well, I guess because that nowadays in the modern lifestyle, there are so many different careers, and each career has so many different paths. So there is a penalty that when you seek a certain career and you decide to make a career shift, so you have to make the right choice from the beginning, and that can be very difficult because sometimes the future is not foreseeable. This is one thing. Another thing that maybe because some people have multiple passions for multiple areas in life, and can be a very difficult spot for them to choose the right path, which can bring them a future prospect as a career and as a passionate job as well.
So what can affect a young person's career choice?
Well, let me collect my thoughts. Okay, so one thing that is very common, that there is a limited freedom. So I know many people that they like to pursue a certain careers, but because they cannot travel or because this kind of career is not available in their hometown, so they wouldn't able to do that. Secondly, there is the cost of education. If you want to be a doctor, you have to go to college, and that can be very expensive. Not everyone have the luxury to do that.
So are people free to choose their own career path?
Well, I wouldn't say that they have complete freedom. I can say that there is a partial freedom for everyone, and that is due to the different circumstances for everyone. If I'm gonna be too realistic, then I would say that not life is unfair, And in order to guarantee a good job in a specific field, you have to be very well educated. And education is not for everyone, or is not guaranteed for everyone.
Well, thank you very much. That was the end of the speaking test.
Thank you.